What's up, Ian here, and this is my review, quick unboxing and graph measurements of this KZ-ZNA 1DD plus 1BA IEM. Now before I begin, I'd like to thank KZ for sending this to me and making this video possible. But guys, rest assured that whatever I say in this video is my own opinion. This video is not scripted and KZ will be watching this video together with you guys. Okay, so KZ-ZNA, and this is now retailing for $29 US. So for those of you who are interested, please check out the unaffiliated link down in the description below. So in this video, I will, as usual, open this up, go through the accessories, and then measure this and listen to it and share with you guys my review of this KZ-ZNA. This video will be timestamped, so for those of you who wish to skip around, please feel free to do so. Right, so let's first remove the plastic. Okay, very typical. Right, so let's take a look at the specifications first. So this is the 1DD plus 1BA ZNA. At the back here, you have some specs. All right, frequency response is 20 to 40,000 Hertz, impedance is 34 ohms, and the sensitivity is 112. Okay, so that's for the specs. Right, let's open this up. Okay, paperwork. See what your tips to provide. Okay, so this is the spiral tips. Okay, this spiral tips. So you got small, medium, and large. The medium is on the IEM itself. Right, so I'm sure you guys are quite familiar with the spiral tips. Nothing new. Cable. I think the cable is also should be the standard cable that comes with most of the KZ IEMs. Yep. Okay, so standard cable. KZ cables, right? And let's just talk about the IEM itself. Okay, so this is the KZ-ZNA, right? So looks nice. I mean, the faceplate looks is black, right? It's got some design here, so very typical IEM shape, right? And inside, housed inside, there is 1DD and 1BA. So well, faceplate is made of metal as usual. At the top here, you see some vents, but this is not the real vent. Okay, and the inner shell is a clear acrylic, well, resin. Okay, and then it's got a, I think it's a vent here. Okay, nozzle is very typical, right? Very typical narrow nozzle here, and a 2-pin connector. Okay, right. So very nice. Well, I've seen this design. This shape lah, okay, and quite a few different designs of this. Alright, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take out my measuring rig and let's see how these look like on the graph. So be right back. Okay, so I'm back, and as you can see, I brought out my measuring rig, right? My sound card, my coupler, my MacBook, and the Kotori cable and foam tips. Alright, and this is the KZ-ZNA. Right, so let's begin. I've already calibrated everything, so you guys don't need to watch that. Let's put in the left side, which is this one right here, okay, into the coupler, right, like so. Okay, now let's go to the computer, and first let's change this name. Okay, KZ-ZNA. Check the levels. $88 dB. Okay, pretty good. Now let's see how they graph. Let's go. All right. Okay, so yep. So that's the left side. That's how it looks like. So let's take the left side out, and now let's put the right side in. So this is the right side. Okay, and make sure the insertion is correct. All right, And let's go back to the computer. Check the levels. 88 dB, very good. Let's begin. Oh, wow. Perfect match. Almost perfect match of the left and the right channel. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to tidy up this graph and I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back, and as you can see, I've tidied up the graph. So let me just explain to you what. The dotted line is the Harman target curve, and this orange line, yeah, I think it's orange, is the KZZNA combined, which is an average of the left and the right combined into one. And then below that, I have the neutralized graph, right? So the flat line is Harman target being flattened, and then the blue line is the KZZNA, right? So let's analyze this graph. So looking at this is a very V-shaped and bass boosted tuning, right? So looking at this, I think bass hits will like this IM. A lot of emphasis on the bass, and well, both the mid bass and the sub bass, and it's not rolled off. As you can see, it's, you know, even going further, right? So I think the rumble is going to be good. The mid bass is quite a lot as well. There's a lot of mid. There's no tuck in the mid bass, or it's very smooth, as you can see, and it leads into the lower mids, right? The mids itself is also, the gain of the mids is also quite prominent, well, as compared to the Harman target. Okay, by the way, I normalize it to at 85 dB, alright, that's what everybody does, most of it, at 1 kilohertz, 1000 kilohertz. Okay, so yeah, there's quite a bit of gain here. The Pina gain and the presence, okay, is dipped. Okay, so the presence is from 4K to 6K, so this part here is dipped, so not a very present sound in terms of treble, so might be a little bit dark, I don't know, but it's a very sharp dip, right? This dip here is a very sharp dip, and then it rises back up for the brilliance, and that's where the 8K sibilance and harshness will be present here, where it resides. Okay, but looking at this, it might be sibilant or harsh, I don't know. I've got to listen to this, and then it dips down pretty naturally for the extension and the air. Okay, now let's look at the other graph, which is the neutralized graph. So looking at this, there is definitely a very warm sounding IM, right? This part here will tell me that, including this part, the lower mids. Mids is pretty recessed, okay, and as you can see, as I mentioned earlier, the treble is kind of dark, okay, with a lot of air and probably sibilance, I don't know. Yeah, but this is the neutralized graph. So from here you can actually read it, right, very clearly, whether it's warm. I mean, it's below the harmonish line, it might be a bit dry and neutralish, but it's above, right? So yeah, okay, so anyway, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to listen to this, right, listen to all my tracks, and then I'll be back with my sound impressions of these KZZNA. So be right back. Okay, so here's my review for the ZNA. Now, these are the gear that I use, basically the High BR5, High BR3, my Questal M15 dongle DAC amp, Apple dongle DACs, iPhone, Android phone, my MacBook, right? And the songs that I use is this list here, the IEM test songs. And if you guys are interested in this list, do check out the link in the description below. Right, so now let's talk about the ZNA. First, the technicalities. So soundstage, I find that soundstage on this is quite a average size soundstage. Is not the widest, not the most intimate as well, but one thing I notice about this is the airiness of, or the sense of airiness of this soundstage. It's pretty airy, it's got good resonance and good depth and distance as well. Okay, so that's for the soundstage. The sound separation and imaging for this is also pretty good. I can actually separate most of the sounds, especially instruments, and position it as well. So pretty good sound separation and positioning and imaging of the musical instruments, and of course vocals. Right, the detail retrieval is it's just okay. It's not the best detail retrieval IM. Well, partly because of the bass, right? If you look at the bass here, so I find that it's okay. Not most of the details can be retrieved on this IM, but the resolution on this is pretty good. Is actually above average in terms of resolution. Pretty resolving IM. Okay. Right, so that's for the technicalities. Let's talk about the tone and timbre on this. Right, if you look at the graph, you know what I'm going to say. This is warm timbre with heavy note weight tone. Okay, so yeah, it's got a warm timbre to this, the music that it plays out. Very warm actually. And the note weight is actually pretty heavy, especially for the lower octaves and lower frequencies. So yeah, to me this is actually a typical KZ tuning. I find that is very casual listening, very musical as well, and very engaging type of bass response. Okay, sound signature on this is V-shaped. All right, if you look at the graph, is elevated bass, well, somewhat elevated treble, so it's a V-shaped. Okay. Now the sub bass is actually very rumbly. It's got a good extension to the rumble, and not very well controlled actually. It bleeds, right? So but very solid sub bass. Got very long extension of the rumble, so I can hear very clear rumble and very solid earth shaking type of rumble. Okay, mid bass is punchy, well, very typical of KZ. I find that most of their IMs has got very punchy mid bass, a very impactful mid bass, and very engaging as well, and warm. Got that heavy, warm, musical type of a bass. Okay, so bass department, very nice. Okay, I like the bass here. In fact, one of the heaviest bass IM from KZ. Right now, for mids is recessed, is veiled, is veiled by the bass. So what I hear is that it's still clear. I mean, it's not not clear. It's still clear, but it's just overwhelmed by the bass, right? So a lot of quantity of the bass does veil the mids, and the instruments like the pianos and the violins. They seem to be recessed and laid back. Okay, they have got good tone, a good warm timbre to it, and a heavy note to the pianos especially, and trumpets, they sound veiled. Yeah, violins also sound veiled, but with clarity. Okay, vocals, male vocals, they sound good on this. Male vocals is good presence, good authority, and good gain and bite to the presence of them in the music or in the mix. And I find that you know, male vocals, they do have that good tone and warm, easy, casual type of listening experience. Okay, so very good for male vocals. Female vocals also, they've got good energy, good presence, but they sound veiled. Okay, and they sound a little bit laid back. Okay, so brightness, not too bright, not much of that sparkle. They have that presence, but at the same time they sound a bit laid back. Okay, they got that bite there, but it's laid back type of bite. Okay, so that's for female vocals. treble. All right, let's talk about treble. Treble, the gain is good. It's got a lot of energy to the cymbal strikes and hi-hats. It's a lot of presence, okay, I would say, but is kind of a dark type of presence. So if you look at the presence here, okay, so what I hear, okay, this is based on what I hear, and also what you guys see here is the dip at the 4K region. So this dip here, it makes the treble a bit darkish. All right, so makes the treble a bit laid back. Okay, at the same time, this upper mids here is actually the transition from the mids to the treble. So it gains up to the treble, but it becomes well, dark. Okay, so it's a darkish type of treble, and I would say, yeah, it's pretty audible. It's definitely audible, but it's just that it's not a very present type of treble. So cymbal strikes, hi-hats, female vocals, snares, they've got that bite there, the energy there, the initial presentation to you, but it's a muted, darkish type of presentation. Okay, then we move on to the air of the treble and the mid treble. This part here, I would say, it's got a little bit of that sibilance. Okay, on certain songs I can hear sibilance, right? It's not a lot, it's not a very present. In fact, most of the KZ IEMs, if you want me to compare the chart, most of them have this peak here at the 8K frequency. Okay, so what I hear is that there is some genre of music, especially female vocals and solos, they have that a bit of that sibilance in the mix. Okay, and the air. So this one, I would say this one has got a bit of the air here. As you look at the peak here, just after the 8K, it's probably maybe 10K. So it rolls off quite well, naturally, but it's got a good linger here. So what I hear, the air for the treble is pretty good, right? Air for the treble is pretty good right after the 8K of that sibilance. So this is a very typical KZ tuning, which most of the IM have. Okay, right, so that's for the overall frequency of this KZ ZNA. Now for $30, I would say it's pretty good. I mean, $30 is the fact that they can achieve such tuning, and of course the quality of the music that it produce is pretty good. Now let me just compare the tuning of another KZ IM. Right, this is the EDCX, and let me just show you the graph. Okay, and just want to let you guys know, these two sound very different. All right, this sounds so much better, right? So let me just show you the graph. Okay, EDCX. Okay, so the red line is the KZ EDCX, and the green line is the ZNA. Now if you ask me, this one sounds better, even though they look almost identical on the graph. And I listened to this over and over and over again, and what I can say is that this one has got so much better in terms of resolution, soundstage, imaging, and sound separation. It's so much better, all right, as compared to the EDCX. Okay, and they look the same in terms of the graph. In terms of what I hear, they sound similar. Okay, in terms of the presence of the different frequencies, but the overall resolution of the sound that's being presented to me, this sounds so much better. Okay, of course this is double the price of this one. Okay, so I'm not really comparing with this, but I just want to show you guys how different the driver will make an IEM sound in terms of the difference. Okay, Alright, so that's it for my review of this ZNA, and of course I do recommend this for those beginners, right? So for those of you who are just starting out and you want to get your feet wet, you can try out this ZNA. It's just 30 bucks, and it's got a good tuning, alright? Well, good KZ tuning, good bass, a lot of bass. So for those of you who love bass, this is the IM to get, and suitable for a lot of genre, especially with bass, techno, trance, heavy metal, rock. Okay, this is actually good for that. But obviously it's not really suitable for classical listening, right? A lot of details are lost, okay, because of the bass. And yeah, in fact, female vocals, I would put that in that category as well. I don't really recommend listening to female vocals on this, but you still can listen to it. It depends on your tolerance of the treble. Okay, right, so that concludes my overall review for this KZ-ZNA. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video, and if you did, please give this video a thumbs up, and of course please subscribe to my channel. Right, that's it for now. Thank you so much. I hope you guys have a great day ahead, and I'll see you again in my next video. Cheers.